Surprised, to be honest. No one had mentioned Michael Downey's name, and actually respect to the LTA that they kept it under wraps. And I like what I hear. I like what I've read. And now really it's up to him when he starts his position at the beginning of January to really implement and put into practice the key areas. I mean, his brief is to increase the numbers, which is what the LTA failed to do, not just in Rogers' tenure, really. It is for many years. That's the development of the sport. That's the future of the sport. And it's going to be a tough job for him, but he's got experience in increasing the numbers in Canadian tennis. He ticks the boxes in terms of his knowledge about tennis, his success in business, and supposedly David Gregson, the independent chairman of the LTA, was impressed with his leadership skills. So that's important that you have all three if you are to be successful in trying to turn around the LTA and British tennis, which I think is also important.
So what does he need to do? What's the first thing he needs to do when he takes to his post in January, Barry?
Honestly, Kirsty, I think get everyone together. I feel and I felt, this is not just from me being at a distance since I stopped playing. This is throughout my junior career and when I was on the seniors and when the LTA actually really did help me. But I've always felt there's a little bit of them and us. And sometimes the LTA are responsible for it, and sometimes they are totally not to blame. But the easiest person to go to criticise has been the LTA, and I think they need to get everyone on board, with parents, people who are involved in tennis, coaches, and of course players, whether it be senior players or whether it be juniors. And that's really going to be very difficult to change the culture, and it has to be someone who's experienced. And I think someone who is passionate. And I like the word humble, which is what he used.
You mentioned David Gregson, who is the LTA chairman. He said actually, we set out to recruit a CEO with true success in business. I mean, obviously, he's a former head of Tennis Canada, as we know. He is also a very successful businessman, I should say. Is this significant then, Barry?
Well, I think that, yes, you want someone who understands business. I felt that from day one. There's no point in getting someone who is 100% knows about the runnings of professional tennis or development tennis, but can't control the budget. And the LTA has about 70 million at their disposal, and that money needs to be spent wisely. And of course, it's not the whole 70 million shouldn't be just on developing the sport. You need to concentrate on performance, on elite, but the concentration should be at getting more people playing and getting more people to stay in the sport. I mean, Michael Downey's talked about mini tennis, which is very important, but it's also about keeping those youngsters playing when they get older and making it more affordable.
Yeah, and have you seen a significant change in Canadian tennis? So obviously, we know the likes of Milos Raonic and also Vasek Pospisil. Have you seen a change there?
Well, firstly, what's more important, Kirsty, actually, is the numbers are up. Currently, 1.2 million people in Canada play twice or more a month, which is an improvement. So, for me, that's important. I mean, someone like Raonic, would Milos Raonic probably come from somewhere else? Maybe. They do have more players, male players now in the top 300 than they did when he started. What was it, 9 years ago? But I think that's sort of the icing on the cake, and that's where I felt that Roger got it wrong. And I know we want to move forward. I know it's all about today, but if you look at when Roger came in, he talked about winning. He really concentrated on the top end without really focusing on again, I'll come back to it, getting more people playing. If to me, it's common sense. If you have 2 million people playing tennis, you've got more chance of getting a great champion who might all of a sudden come out of it, or getting 4 or 5 players that can compete and play in the Davis Cup, than if you only have 500,000.